Haven helped or supported your journey of sobriety. Hello and welcome to For the Health of It.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Same here.
So, Miss Kimberly, can you tell our listening audience why are you here today? What are you hoping for to promote Caribbean Haven? I think there's a big anniversary.
We're coming up on our 25th anniversary in November, so it's November the 16th is the official date. And we just want people to be aware. I've come across so many people here who don't even know who we are or where we are or what we do. So we want to make sure people know that the service is available. It's a beautiful service that the government provides for the people of the Cayman Islands. And also to foster some more knowledge and awareness of addiction and recovery, what that looks like in real time for the people who are here experiencing it, and how we can help.
So the organization started in 1997.
Caribbean Haven opened its doors in 2000.
Okay.
It's had some different iterations over the years, but as a residential facility, it opened in 2000. We're currently part of the Department of Counseling Services, and we fall under the Ministry of Health, Sustainability, and Environment. And we serve anyone over the age of 18 who struggles with addiction. And for many people, that also includes co-occurring mental health issues, complex histories of trauma, and a lot of other social issues that they're dealing with.
So your mission and those you serve are people from the Cayman Islands and...
Yes. So anyone who's legally resident in the Cayman Islands can access services with us for no cost. It's fully funded by the government. Our overall mission as a department is to foster a healthy and resilient population in Cayman, but specifically at Caribbean Haven, it's to help people to get started on their recovery journeys and give them the support that they need to become more independent, more ready to be in the community as sober individuals, and to build a satisfying life.
That is a worthwhile mission, if you will, in my judgment, because so many times we don't realize just how much support we need.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you all for doing the work that you do.
Thank you.
What does recovery look like?
Well, I mean, it looks different for everyone. So I'll talk in general terms about what the process of kind of getting started on the journey looks like for people who come to Caribbean Haven. So it typically starts with a detox. So before people can really be ready to look at all of the reasons why they struggle with addiction, we have to get the substances out of our systems, right? So it'll start with a period of detox where we're just getting the toxins out of the system. So that means it's a date where people stop using alcohol or whatever the drugs are that they've been using, and we call that a clean date. And from there, you don't use anymore. We let the body kind of return to a normal, I guess, for lack of a better word, state where you're hydrated, you're well rested, your nutrition starts to improve. And then we start planning. So what would people like to work on that might help them create a life where it's easier not to use alcohol or other drugs? And then we work on that. So at Caribbean Haven, that's done through individual therapy and counseling groups that are facilitated by professionals, but then also sort of less structured peer groups and recreational activities, maybe rebuilding family relationships if that's part of the person's experience, looking at other health issues that might have arisen during their active addiction. So just kind of taking that holistic approach and getting the person as well as possible before they start preparing to go back to the community.
Brian, I'm going to throw this question on you. How hard is it to say I want to become drug-free or alcohol-free to end addiction?
I mean, the want can be there, but they see that a lot of work has to be put into it. That want has to come with footwork. But I think a lot of us want it sometimes, but we don't really want to do the footwork necessary for it, because as much as I wish it could be as simple as just wave a wand and everything's good, that would be nice, but unfortunately it's not that way. And we have to be open and honest with ourselves and with the counselors, and that's the way it works.
How long have you been clean and sober?
3.5 years.
What was your drug of choice, if you will?
Well, everything that I could get my hands on was really what was going on with me, but I think most of the time I was abusing alcohol, ganja, and cocaine.
Okay. what led you? I mean, the pain point is usually what happens, right? It becomes too hard just to stay in that spot. From what I can understand of addiction, you take it to avoid the pain, but then the pain of the addiction becomes too
Yes.
great,
Yes.
right? And so what was your low point?
Well, it did come to a point where I felt as if I'd rather die than continue to live in the way I was living, but I didn't want to die. So I just was really desperate to try to really do something about it, and it was quite obvious that my addiction was my problem. And I was in denial of that for a long time. I thought the world was the problem. If I could just live, go to work, and just be at peace at my home, not be bothered by police, and have the money to afford my drugs and my alcohol, all would be great. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It was just pure destruction every time I drank and used drugs, every time.
Okay.
No matter what was going on around me, that could never make it controllable for me to use.
Right. Was there an event 3.5 years ago that you just lifted your hand and said, yep?
Well, the time that I made a decision to specifically go into the rehab, I was remanded in prison. I was in the drug court system, and I was remanded because I was trying to do the outpatient program, and I kept relapsing, get remanded, bailed out, relapse, get remanded, and that was a pattern that's happened a lot for me. So I knew that I couldn't do the outpatient. If I just rubbed my time, I'm in prison. As I come out, the first place I'm going to is the liquor store and the drug dealer. I know that the rehab provided me with a safe place where all my needs are provided for me. I have counselors around me. If I'm ever faint of heart or if I'm having overwhelming urges, I can always reach out and to talk to them. And they have classes and groups that help me work on the issues that I'm struggling with, you know. And also believe it or not, the recreational activities is very important too, because it made me feel connected back to life again, because I did nothing recreational when I was on drugs. All I did was just get money, use drugs, get money, use drugs. I was just in this isolated circle, you know. So a lot of healing happened, and a lot of feeling connected back to life and feeling, you know what I mean, like this is what life is supposed to look like, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what was the biggest surprise of getting clean and sober?
When I look back, it's funny. I still have some good memories in Caribbean Haven, and a lot of the time, the things that I thought was completely wrong. I based a lot of joy and happiness on a lot of external things, and I thought that's what's going to bring me peace. But apparently, what I thought about the groups and the exercises and the tools that Caribbean Haven was, when we were having these discussions and stuff and groups and stuff, I didn't think that they could really do what they have done for me, you know? Because when I came into rehab, I was having a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of trauma. My mental health wasn't really good. And at this point in my life, I feel emotional stability, and my mental health is very exceptional. And it's unbelievable how peaceful I feel within myself, you know? And that came before having a job right now, or having my car, having my driver's license, having my passport, which are things that came afterwards. But, you know, feeling a part of life and feeling not so bombarded in my mind or emotionally overwhelmed and stuff like that, you know. When I came into the rehab, I usually thought this is a pile of foolishness. I want to skip past this part, get into work, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But when I was so desperate to make things work this time, I said, you know what? Just to make everybody shut up about doing this stuff, I'm gonna do it and prove them wrong. And I did it, and I proved them right. And,
I love that.
and but I'm glad I did, because what's happened, and it's again that's really what surprised me the most, because I was like, wow, this stuff that I thought was mumbo jumbo ended up being the key things, the key ingredients to the success for me, you know.
Let's normalize it for our population. How many times had you tried rehab before you became?
Boy, I can't even tell you, but it's so much. So many times I went into just a detox and left, and sometimes I come into the program, stay for 2 weeks, 2 months. I think 1 or 2 times I made it to the I think about 2 times I made it to the reentry phase, and got the job. And when I got the job, I was like, I don't need these people no more. I'm good to go. And that's when everything fell apart right away, instantly, because I either left and said to myself, I'm good now, I got my job, or I said to myself, well, maybe I can go get a little drink or something, and probably they won't notice or whatever. In fact, no, I say this, it was 3 times, because one of the times I said I was going to go drink, and I said, no, I'll just try to come back and play it off. I never made it back to the rehab. you know. And so again, that was more evidence for me proving that, you know, there's something that's going on that I'm not getting right, and all of my plans and all of my ideas aren't working. So I guess is that this time I'm just going to really just do what the program suggests instead of coming up with my own ideas, you know. I mean, I was open about the issues that I was having and didn't pretend that, because I was trying to fly under the radar to get to reentry a lot of times, and when I was having urges or whatever, I kept it to myself. Or when I was having issues, I was pretending like, hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, you should put me in reentry now because I'm doing so great. You know what I mean? When I think the main purpose of being in that part of the phase is to be open and honest about what you're struggling. If you're having urges, talk to the counselors before you're going to decide to go take off. If you're having issues and you're struggling, come to the counselors for advice and help, you know, and you'll get it, and things will work out better for you, you know, instead of putting on this fake facade and then it backstabs you.
Yeah, my mother was an alcoholic. She died of alcoholism at the age of 33.
My condolences.
And she tried. I mean, she did try, but like you said, it's that, you know, that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Go off, come back. But you're re-entering in the same space that you left and not dealing with, addressing what led you to that problem. So normalizing it to help people to understand that this is not one and done. You're going to go to rehab 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It was more than 3 times, right?
A lot of times I just came to the detox and left, and there was quite a bit of times I did the program itself. But I mean, the program to me is something I really needed personally. I couldn't just get them out my system and go back into life. There was a lot of issues I had to work on, and I needed the inpatient program.
Yeah.
You know.
There's some research that says that the average number of times people will do rehab before they have some long-term success is 7 to 9. So we've had some people have less, and some people even have more stays than that, because it's going to look different for everyone.
Thank you, because that's what we want people to understand. And, you know, people are people.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go in today and they fall out, I guess there's a shame spiral in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well, there's a potential for it.
Oh, okay.
There's the potential for it, and I think a lot of that has to do with the way we think about addiction and the way we think about recovery.
Right.
You know, that, well, if people don't make it the first time, they may, or people around them may see it as a moral failure or a personal failure, and then that's what's going to lead to the shame. And that's not what's happening at all. You know, you said it really well, Brian. You know, you wanted to change without doing the work.
Yeah.
And that's human nature, right? Like, I want to lose weight without having to do all the workouts and the diet, right? Like,
I want to take a pill.
yeah, right? I want to, you know, amass wealth without, like, doing the hard work it takes. So, I mean, that's just human nature, right? Or we want the change without going through the work of the transformation. And because addiction is so complex, and it's not just behavioral, and I think people see it as addiction is a behavioral problem, but it's not. It's so complex. It involves the brain, you know, it's circuits in your brain. It involves your moods. It involves your environment, your genetics, you know, just so much in addition to behavior, you know, your personal history. So having to navigate through all of that is going to take time and effort. And not everyone does that the first time. I've heard anecdotes of that, but it's very rare.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. For those listening, I want you to think about when you want to give up or go on a diet, start an exercise program, how difficult that is. I mean, what your survival mechanism, what do you buck up against? I'm in the process of quitting taking milk out of my coffee again for the millionth time. And this is just milk and coffee, and I'm like, I want my milk and my coffee.
Right. Yeah. But it just kind of highlights how difficult change is for us, even with small things. So imagine a whole lifestyle change.
Yes, and this is addiction and making people feel less than if they don't make it the first time or even the second time. You just said 7 to 9 times, and it could even be more depending on the, you know, their drug, whether or not, depending on so much. Okay, and I have a theory, not a doctor, but I have a theory that addiction is usually directed by trauma. You know, you're escaping something. So if we don't deal with that, we go and we self-medicate, whether it's food, drugs, alcohol, exercise, work, religion, you know. So I think that can come its own, you know, sex. It can gambling.
Sure.
You know, it's all sorts of things. I was a food addict. I used to be 428 pounds at one point in my life. So, yeah. Self-soothing,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Just because that was more acceptable doesn't mean that we don't have addiction. Because I went through a whole program of food and whatnot. But how do we help our population to understand and become more accepting or kinder, destigmatizing people who went through addiction? Because I see some incredible stories in our small community. I haven't met you before today, Brian, and thank you for, you know, being a guiding light to men of your age, people who are in your community who are addicted, still fighting addiction, and they might look at you and say, look, Brian can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? And thanks for being on this program, because again, you're providing a light, and there's so much value for that. What would you tell employers? Because it must be hard to get a job, you know. What would you tell families of people with children who are suffering addiction? What would you tell them?
I really don't know how to even answer that question, to be honest. I tell you no
Okay.
lie. I don't know.
Good. That's okay. Miss Kimberly?
I think if we are looking at it in an inclusive way, you know, so if we're looking at addiction as a disease, just like any other chronic disease, diabetes, hypertension, you know, they'd have to ask themselves, would you not give someone a job who has another chronic disease? And if the answer is, you know, is no, well, what is the prejudice towards someone with this chronic disease, and how are they any different, you know, and is there any way to be a bit more inclusive and realize that one of the important parts of recovery is having kind of ways to be productive, you know. So when someone's ready for employment, you know, they're probably going to be a great employee, because that's going to be such an important part of their recovery, is that productivity and ability to contribute to society. I think it is okay to maybe have some boundaries, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe if there is a space for openness with that individual to make sure they're still in the treatment that they need, you know, and that they've got the support that they need, just like anybody would for any chronic disease that they're dealing with.
Thank you. Because like Brian said earlier, it's that connection to
Yes.
and normalizing and doing things that are what's expected of being a member of society, because you felt outside, right?
Definitely.
So having that job, like you were saying, normalizes and keeps you there. Now, this one's harder because there's so much emotions with it. What do you tell families who are supporting or not supporting a son or a daughter who's addicted? What do you tell them?
Well, I think it does come back to the connection to an extent, you know, and you use that word a few times, Brian, and we often talk about the opposite of addiction, which is disconnection, is connection, right? And that's something that we experience in the recovery journey. So stay connected, offer support, offer love, offer empathy, and also be very boundaried, you know, so you don't want to enable any of the behaviors that are keeping the person in an addictive lifestyle, you know. So it may sound harsh, but even being careful about things like giving money and things like that, you know, like it's okay to ask, what is this for? If it's food that you need, I'll buy you some food, you know, but I'm not going to give you money, right? Like it's okay to be very boundaried with your loved ones, and also stay connected and say things like, I'm really worried about you. You know, would you like to talk about it? Would you like some help, you know, or what would help look like for you, you know, to be able to have open space for those conversations, and also be boundaried when it comes to making sure you're not like helping them stay in their addiction. I don't know if there's anything you'd want to add to that, Brian. What was helpful for you?
I totally agree, because I believe my grandmother played that exact same role that you mentioned. You know, she showed a lot of love and encouragement for me. She was always trying to be of help for me. She was also trying at the same time not to enable me, because my addiction was hurting her a lot. and she made that clear to me that she couldn't sleep at night a lot of times and stuff because she's worrying about me, you know. But she offered to take me to Caribbean Haven, and I would say stuff like maybe tomorrow, and I never did. But she kept trying. She never washed her hands on me, and when I did decide to go to Caribbean Haven, she was my main outside support. So I think anybody who has someone who is a family or a friend, continue to encourage them to seek help, and when they're willing to, you know what I mean, be the support for them, and like we were saying earlier, not to really truly condemn them because if they fall or something, but they encourage them to try again because, you know, I also condemned myself a lot of times when I fell short and I relapsed, but because I in the beginning to think I was hopeless, there is hope, you know, and if we just gotta keep trying. And well, I learned this in Caribbean Haven that mistakes aren't necessarily a failure if you learn from them. You know what I mean? We would call them LEs in rehab, a learning experience, you know? And I think a relapse can be a learning experience.
For someone who's afraid to walk through those doors at Caribbean Haven, what would you tell them about what's waiting on the other side?
Well, I can understand the fear because the fear of the unknown, the fear of what you might have to do to make it work. It's not as scary as you think. It is going to take work, but it's not as bad as you think it is. And the results, if you work the program, is going to be so life-changing and well worth it. I encourage anybody that is going through an addiction to go through the rehab, you know, because the changes that's happened with me is so phenomenal. I just can't begin to tell you, you know.
Thank you. And Ms. Kimberly, this is the last question. What is the process for someone to get admitted? Can they self-refer, or do they need to be court-referred?
They can self-refer. Anyone can self-refer. They would just need to call us. Our number is 947-9992. So they would call. We do a phone screening to ask them some questions just to get to know them a bit and see if they would be eligible for the program. And that's all they need to do to start the process. Just make that call, and then we take it from there.
Okay. What would make them ineligible?
Well, I mean, mostly the eligibility will have to do with the detox. So depending on what substances people are using, they may need to see a physician or do a medical detox before coming to us, and we can help them make that determination on the screening. Also, if you have things that you need to take care of in the community first, you know, if you need to secure your belongings or your housing or get the time off from work, we also recommend just doing those things. Be ready to come in when you're calling, so that when you come, you can actually focus on being in the program and not have to be worried about external things.
And how long is the detox program run for?
The detox is about a week, sometimes a little longer, depending on the individual. And the program, ideally, we would like people to stay for 3 to 6 months. And if you stay on the longer end of that, then we can start helping with things like reentry. So that means finding a job, finding a place to live, starting to save money, and, you know, get ready to be on your own. The people who stay longer tend to have better long-term outcomes. So if people are able to give us the 6 months, you're more likely to have a better outcome.
Okay. And all this is free? I mean, the government pays?
Yeah, no cost to the clients.
Okay. For the person who is struggling with addiction right now, and the family who's struggling with them because they're not isolated, the family is right there in the swimming middle of it. What would you say, both of you?
One, just that you're not alone. I know it can feel very isolating, but there are people out there who want to help, who are waiting to help. We're there waiting for you. And that it's okay to acknowledge that it's not going to be easy. We're not saying that it's going to be easy at all. It's not going to be easy. And it's also going to be transformative, right? So if you're willing to go through some of the hard to build a better life and build a satisfying life, it will be worth it. I can't always guarantee a positive result, but I can guarantee if you do the work, you're going to get the benefits.
Yeah, I second what Ms. Kimberly said.
I mean, what has changed for you? I mean, you work full time now, I guess. Yeah,
I was unemployed. I was homeless. I had no documents of anything, no driver's license, no passport. My life was just completely nothingness. You know what I mean? Again, mentally scarred, emotional turmoil. I was a wreck. All of that I just mentioned is going the next direction. Again, I have my birth certificate, I have my Cayman passport, I have my driver's license, a car, a bank account, which was like the hardest thing in the world for me to get. You know what I mean? I had struggles with all these things were very hard obstacles. It wasn't something as simple as just go in and, you know what I mean, and make these things happen. Same thing with my emotional stability. These were exercises that I had to do all the time, you know what I mean? And some of the most simplest things came out to be so good. I remember one of the exercises was giving myself daily affirmations. And I'm telling you, just telling myself something every morning. For the first month, it didn't seem like it was doing nothing, but afterwards, I start to feel it. Mm-hmm. And something simple as that, I'm saying to myself, well, how in the world is this? You know what I mean? Boy,
what did you start with?
Well, first I had to start telling myself things like that I am worthy, because I was told a lot that I'm worthless. So that was like the combat to that. And also, I was scared a lot. I was always thinking something bad is going to happen, even if I do all the right things. And I had to tell myself, it's okay, I am safe, I got this. And after a while, I started to feel like I was safe, everything's okay, and I got this, you know. And those things were I think the two that kind of stuck out for me the most. Those are the ones I really wanted to work on, was feeling worthy and feeling that I'm okay and that I'm safe, you know. Because there's been times when certain obstacles come and I start catastrophizing it, thinking my life is going, when it's actually, it's okay. It's just a bump in the road or a hole in the road or whatever. And I'm in a safe environment, the rehab. I have the counselors. I can come talk to them. You know what I mean? So it's like helps me start thinking straight and stuff like that when I can start to believe these affirmations and stuff. You know.
Well, thank you so much for being on for the Health Fit. Anything else you'd like to add, Miss Kimberly?
No, just I hope people have been inspired by Brian's story. He's an amazing individual, and he's an example of what is possible for anyone out there who may be struggling. So I hope people who have been inspired by you, Brian, will give us a call and experience that joy of recovery for themselves.
Thank you so much for being on for the Health of It. You've been listening to me interview Brian Yelverton and Miss Kimberly Fabrice.
If I could also say something too, thank you for having me, Miss Tara, and also thank you for inviting me, Miss Kimberly. And also I'd like to thank my boss too for supporting me and giving me the time off to be able to be here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you again. We are moving you to the life you want.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy, with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governors Square, where they care about my health.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush. Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governors Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Light Room, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.